The following is a special presentation of iRacing on LSRTV, your home for sim racing. Tonight from the Myrtle Beach Speedway, LSRTV is happy to say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to our continuing coverage of the 2017-2018 Myrtle Beach Simulation Series presented by the Championship Esports Association at LSRTV, your home for sim racing and iRacing Live, as we welcome you to week number 12 of action here from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, at a special night as we welcome you topside into our LSR-TV booth. As always, it's myself, Evan Pasoko, Austin Coop, Chris Murdoch, with Cisco Scar moves the downstairs, twisted and tweaking it out to bring us to you this evening. And you know, Coop, we're typically used to seeing 5-6 races tonight, only 2 of them this evening with the street stocks, and then a special treat at the end of the evening, the Tour Modifieds on track for a 125-lap main event. So it may seem like a shorter night, but we're actually getting the night kicked off with some bonus coverage as we get set to see qualifying for the Tour Mod race.
Yeah, like you said, the Tour Modifieds tonight are for points. They have their own series that just happens to be coming to Myrtle Beach, and then the Street Stocks is a non-points race tonight. So really, whenever you know, we're gonna have a qualifying session here. I think that's what we should really be talking about. So David Gassity, he's gonna be the first driver to be leading this charge of looks like about well, I can't actually see a number on here anymore, but probably around 20 drivers right now they're gonna go out there and qualify and get the time after the street stock race, which will be promptly after this.
They are lined up in the order in which they will qualify again after this qualifying session. Then we will go racing for the non-point street stock event. That's the series that we're used to seeing here pretty much every other week in the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series. And then after that, the Tour Mods will be back on track for a points race in their own championship. But Chris Carr's on track. It'll be single car qualifying. And David Cassidy first driver to take to the racetrack. Again, it is a 125-lap race. Plenty of time when we get there, but starting up front is pinnacle no matter what. So we'll see what the first couple of cars out here can do.
Yeah, and with this first car, we definitely get to see what David Cassidy in that 11 machine will have for this field. He definitely gets to show his stuff, as he's sitting 12th in points right now, Evan. So he's got a very comfortable spot in the points system right now, and can use a very good qualifying effort here tonight.
Is up to speed. His time 17.986 for David Cassidy as his lap is completed, and we'll get the provisional time down. Picked up some from practice, so hopefully for his sake that one will be able to stick. We will get faster and faster though per practice times as more drivers get out on track. Jeremy Adams on the racetrack right now in the 89 machine.
Yeah, he's going through 1 and 2 with a pretty good lap, and he's only had 2 starts, but he's in 22nd place in the point standings, and himself a pretty good run here. We'll see what he's able to achieve here as he comes out of 4. It looks like he's turning pretty low on the track. You can see he's really cutting down, and so he's going to get about 3/10 faster than David Cassidy right there. Only 1 lap as he completes that lap, and John McNaka is going to get his shot at it.
17.686, the time for Jeremy Adams. Now it is McNaka on the back straightaway, the driver of the number 3 entry. Put down to 17.8 earlier tonight in the practice session. That would have put him a little bit behind Jeremy Adams, although we did see Cassidy, first driver out, pick up about 1/10 of a second from his practice to his qualifying time. So we'll see what McNaka has as he heads to turns 3 and 4, trying to keep it nice and tight up against that inside pit retaining wall. And they'll swing it by the start-finish line. Time for the 3 and 18.074, third out of 3 so far, actually dropping more than 2/10 from his time earlier tonight.
Yeah, definitely not a qualifying run that he would like to be proud of. But now we got David Messier in that 85 machine, or that 58 machine, I should say, going out on the track now, going to cross the line, trying to get his lap completed. We'll have to see what he did. He ran a 17.9 in practice, so definitely looking to maybe either follow that one up or get even faster. So he's coming through 3 and 4 here, going to be up to speed, running that middle groove to get the run off the corner, and he will not be faster than David Cassidy or Jeremy Adams, but he will fall right in that 3rd place position.
18.025 going to be the time for Messier. Next driver up, Ashton Tucker in the number 32 machine. To get out on track, Tucker 18th in the championship standings. Coming into tonight to get Adams fastest right now, 17.686. Cassidy second with a 9.86. And then both Messier and Vignaga outside of that sub-18 second bracket. We'll see what Tucker can do as about a mid-pack car in the practice session earlier tonight. Looks like a nice clean exit, not pushing it too much at a turn number 4. And the conservative trip around is going to be good. Slow and steady wins the race. 17.886 puts him into P2, second fastest on the board.
He went second fastest on the board, and then we look at second place in points, Tanner Cook. This is an important run to watch right now as Tanner is going through 3 and 4 right here. He's going to come across the stripe a little bit higher, and we saw Jeremy Adams use the very bottom of the track, and this is what Cook's doing. Look at him go all the way down to the bottom. Looks like he's doing a a little bit of a double apex through 1 and 2. He's definitely low on the track, and he is going absolutely quick in turn number 1, and we'll see. He gets a little tight off of 4. Oh, he's going to touch the wall. It's going to make his lap invalid. Oh, actually, it looks like he'll be able to make it stick, and he'll tie Ashton Tucker.
Jumps up, and he's got P2. 2/100ths of a second, and I made the comment when Tucker was coming off of 4 that nice and calm because he really wasn't pushing like we saw Cook did there, and beats it by 2/100ths, so Tanner Cook into second position with a 17.868. Now Jacob Porter heads to the racetrack. Another top 10 car in the championship comes into tonight in 9th position in that exchange, and we'll see what the number 7 machine has in qualifying. Looks like he about kind of walked the line in between pushing it, taking it easy, and a great time. Picks up a 10th. From his best in practice. Porter going to go to P2 with a 17.8.
Yeah, now just leaving the pits here, guys, going to be the 4 of Randy Yoakum. Yoakum's going to be sitting 13th in points, just 65 points back from your leader, Christian Peterson, in points. So he's going to be looking for a great qualifying run tonight as he crosses the start-finish line and heads down into turns 1 and 2. You'll see him run that middle line and kind of diamond it off and try to get that run as best he can out of the corner. Now he's going through 3 and 4, trying to replicate the same thing. Just gets a little bit wobbly going through 3 and 4, but coming across the line, he's going to hit an 18.008, going to put him right behind David Cassidy.
About, I think, 6th position for him, so to the back half of mid-pack in this one. Next driver up as we keep knocking him off, Todd Guerin. He's going to be out for qualifying. We're about 1/3 of the way through the cars that will race in tonight's 125 lap feature later on this evening. Guerin had one of the better times in practice earlier tonight. In fact, I believe he was tied for best time with Matt Cucker with a 17.742. That time, though, at the moment, would not be good enough for pole. We'll see if he can pick it up. But at turn number 4, time for Todd Guerin at the line, just shy with a 17.758. It will put him into second. Great run, but nearly over a 10th behind Jeremy Adams up front, who continues to stand strong with that blistering 6.86 lap time.
Here comes somebody who beat Jeremy Adams in practice, and we'll see what he's able to do. It's Matt Cucker. Looks like I got a couple fans of him in the comment section, but Matt Cucker, this is only going to be his 3rd start on the season, so he's pretty far back in points. But at the same time, he's missed 1 start. So coming out of 3 and 4, he looks to go really low on the track. He's probably going to do exactly what Adams did. Actually, no, he's going to keep that car straight, and it looks like he's going to be a 3rd on the board, just shy of his practice time.
A good run for him, and again, that's right in and around the range of his time from practice, but after what Jeremy Adams did picking up you're going to have to find an extra 1/10 of a second somewhere. So far, nobody has been able to gain by that much, with the exception of Jacob Porter, who went from a 17.9 to a 17.8 from his practice time compared to his qualifying time. Jeremy Watkins, next driver out on the racetrack, number 90 machine, track for qualifying.
Yeah, the number 90 of Jeremy Watkins going to be doing everything he can to try to get a good qualifying run, start towards the front up here in this Tour Modified special feature, but not going to be able to get it done. He's going to be sitting P7 for tonight with a 17.88899.
Decent time for him. It'll give him a fighting chance over the course of tonight's race. The Tour Modifieds typically race on Tuesdays, but a special treat as we had, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we got to see the Dash for Cash Nationals on track as well, and every couple of weeks we get to see a special series. Tonight it is the Tour Modifieds, and Garrett Strakota on track, looking to improve on a practice time. It was the 17.912. If he can best that time, it would put him right about in the mid-range. The driver of the 77 machine coming to the checkered flag this time. A little bit of a higher exit off of the white line in turn number 4. Lap time going to be 17.904. Stays about even, and it'll put him P8.
Yeah, you did a very similar time than you did in practice, and so we'll put him kind of smack dab in the middle. Jeremy Adams still being the only driver to crack the 6s. Yeah, that being in qualifying and in practice. That'll definitely be noteworthy if he's able to get that pole. He's able to make that time. So here comes Sean Cross coming to the start-finish line and into turn number 1 and out of turn number 2. He's got himself looks like a solid lane, or solid line as well. But something that we don't talk about, or we haven't talked about, I should say, is that this is a fixed setup. Everyone is driving the same setup. As Sean Cross comes through and comes to the start-finish line, he's going to dive it down to the bottom of the track, and he's going to come home with an 18.305. He'll be currently last among all drivers.
You can tell not the lap he wanted. I think that dive down at the end was just some sort of a move to try to savor anything out of that lap time. That was 4/10 off of what he did in practice, so Sean Cross is going to have some work to do. Next driver up, Will Javicki in the number 30 machine. Another driver who was in the 17.8s. If he can, again, match his practice time from earlier tonight, he would be 5th best, but he would like to, I'm sure, improve on that when we get up into the first couple of rows with a little bit past half of the field now having been qualified.
Yeah, and looking at him coming up through the field here, going to cross the line with a 17.851. That's going to put him top 5 here for tonight. Now we look back towards the pits as the 07 of Jeffrey Martin is going to be pulling out here. Ran a 17.924, so he's definitely got speed to qualify up front here tonight. Evan, let's see if he can execute it in qualifying.
Get the speed built up, and it's his lap. Has started for Jeffrey Martin, and the car looked almost a little bit sideways down in the center of turns 1 and 2. He'll head back down to 3 and 4. We've seen drivers hug that wall all the way through the exit of 4, take a low exit. Some drivers will swing it high. They'll take the latter option. Time at the line. Top of the board, Jeffrey Martin picks up 3/10 from practice, and a 17.676 goes to provisional pole.
I'll tell you what, that came out of nowhere for sure. I've known Jeffrey for a long while, and he's definitely been up there, but I was not expecting that. That's a really good thing to be surprised about, especially for Jeffrey, as Jeff Ward will go out there, and he had a really good practice time, so we'll see what he's able to do. Really surprised and really happy for Jeffrey right there, as we're seeing Jeff really dive into turn number 3. He's really going pretty fast, really low off the corner, and if he's able to contend, he's able to get a 7.55, so that'll put him in 3rd. Very solid qualifying run for Jeff Ward.
I mean, that's right in the ballpark with his practice time. 3rd best at the moment, and again, we were impressed with Jeremy Adams, who picked up a 10th, but for Jeffrey Martin to pick up 3/10, it is the biggest gain we have seen out of anybody from practice to Q. And I was, in all honesty, kind of looking at Adams, Ward, Guerin, Cucker to be the guys to challenge for pole, because they were all down in that 0.7 second bracket. But Jeffrey Martin from left field right now on top, that's going to be a tough time to top, as we see Robbie Bunden take to the racetrack. Driver the number 87 machine comes into tonight with very limited starts in this Tour Modified field, and coming into the special event here on a Wednesday night. Really tight, and maybe a little bit too tight. That time up against the inside fence. We'll see what the lap time is going to be for him, and might not even get scored with one. We'll see.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the 87 will get scored with a lap time with that contact towards the wall. So we'll move on to the 91 of Dalton J. Martin, who is flying through turns 3 and 4 right now, trying to get that car up to speed to get a qualifying lap. He ran an 18:03.9 in practice, so definitely looking to improve on that one. Maybe getting the 17s, and whoa, lost it coming through turns 1 and 2, so it does not look like that driver will get a time, and will immediately pull it down pit road as a hard crash into the outside wall.
First time we've seen that. He was really cheating on those curbs down in turn 2, and it was about the 3rd or 4th one that he ran over that really upset that car. It bounced him basically the whole left side of that car up in the air, and it is a big wreck, which will prevent him from taking a time into qualifying. The car was quickly off the racetrack, so qualified will continue with Wade Sheeter right now. And the number 22 machine, one of, again, the better drivers in practice earlier tonight. The 22 can definitely contend for one of the top times tonight. Let's see what he has in his back pocket as he comes into turn number 4. The start-finish line, the time is going to be 6th best with a 17.774.
A good time for him. John Clements, he'll come out of the pits looking for a good time for him. Definitely someone who wants to improve from practice, as he's went towards the bottom of the chart, and he gets a good solid run out of turn number 4 to get this lap started here, and looks like he'll do, looks like he'll come and get a really large entrance and then really power off here on the back straightaways. A lot of these drivers are doing, I think turn 1's really the biggest point of where you gain at this track. Turn 3 and 4 is kind of similar with these drivers, but as he crosses the start-finish line, he will be pretty solid right there where he was in practice. He'll get an 18.1.
Decent time for him. Next driver looking to head out to the racetrack is Jeff Rogers, who leaves the pit lane. I believe there's about 4 or 5 drivers more to go. Only 3 more drivers that have taken time into practice, but if Christian Peterson, Kyle Barnes, and Wade Rooker decide to get out there, is going to be the 6th to last driver to take a qualifying time. So Rogers is on track, and he is on his flying lap. Has not recorded a start yet this year in this Tour Modified Series. We'll see what the 99 machine can do. A very wide exit and a turn number 4 to allow him to keep it a little bit lower on the front straightaway. It'll equate to an 18.201, second slowest out of the times that have been recorded.
Second slowest is out. Now we look towards your points leader here, guys. The 23 of Christian Peterson will roll off slow from the pit lane to try to keep the tires on that thing, and you'll see him try to get it up to speed, running the high line through 3 and 4 to get the most run off that corner. He's going to cross the line to start this time right now. If there was one driver that Jeffrey Martin should be concerned about down here in these bottom half drivers, it's going to be that 23 of Christian Peterson, because he knows how to really get fast around here, as he's going to bobble through 3 and 4. Definitely going to hurt his time here as he's come through 4, crossing the start finish line. He's going to be at a 17.9. That bobble is going to put him 13th, guys.
And it's hard to tell, you know, what lap time he would have had without it. We didn't have any time in practice to kind of compare it to, but you could very visibly see him have to cut back and forth on the wheel to keep that car straight at a turn number 4, and it'll put Peterson in the middle of the pack, which is sure to be an exciting thing come race time. Next driver up in the qualifying session, Wade Rooker, as I mentioned, the driver of the number 82 machine, did not take a time in our very short 10-minute warm-up session before the qualifying this evening. We will see what he can record on track as he comes into tonight 23rd in the championship standings. The time for Wade Rooker at the line, very good, 17.891 mid-pack.
You know what I'm seeing with those last couple of drivers is that turns 3 and 4 was, even though that's single file, I think that the track started wearing down a little bit and got a little slicker for these guys. I think Wade, Peterson, and a couple other guys, they definitely slid through turns 3 and 4 just a little bit, as qualifying has looked like it's been completed.
Let's take a look top to bottom at your qualifying results for tonight's Tour Modified main event. Jeffrey Martin, as we said, is going to start this one from pole position with a blistering 17.676. Jeremy Adams, who was one of, I think, about 3rd best in practice earlier tonight, will start from 2nd, a 10th of a second behind, or rather only a 100th of a second behind, with a 17.686. Starting 3rd tonight, going to be the 17 of Jeff Ward. Todd Garrett will end up qualifying in 4th. And Matt Tucker will qualify P5.
In the 6th position will be Wade Judah, then Jacob Porter 7th with Will Dravicki, and 8th with Tanner Cook 9th. Ashton Tucker, he will be 10th.
Wade Rookhart in that 82 machine, he's going to be starting 11th. Jeremy Watkins going to be 12th. Garrett Stratcher is going to be 13th. 14th goes to Christian Pearson, and 15th goes to David Cassidy.
16th for Randy Oakham. David Messier will continue on through the field along with John Bignacca, who will start, I believe, 18th position. John Clements and then Jeff Rogers. Bring everything out through only 2 more times to qualifying. Sean Cross with an 18.3. And Dalton Martin technically has a time. It's 18 minutes. That's just because he was sitting on the other side of the start-finish line while he was waiting for his time. He crashed in qualifying. It did not technically take a time, so he will round things out. New qualifying times for Barnes to Merchant or Bundy at the back of the field. So that's a recap of the qualifying session. It's time to go racing. The Tour Modifieds will clear the racetrack, and the straight stocks will take to it. So we'll take an opportunity to step aside while they reset things down trackside, and what we come 12 for the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series. You're watching it on LSRTV and to iRacing Live. Welcome back to the Myrtle Beach Speedway as the sun has gone down and the lights have come on as we get set to go racing for week 12 of this Myrtle Beach Simulation Series presented by the Championship Esports Association. If you were with us from the top of the hour, Jeffrey Martin qualified on pole for tonight's main event, the Tour Modified feature race. Going to be coming up in a little bit. His 17.686 was best out of anybody, but those cars have cleared the track and the street stocks are back with us tonight for I think what about equates to the 7th or 8th different time that we have seen them this year. It is going to be a 9 points event though for this division as they go racing for Coop. What's about an average race distance for them at 30 laps to get tonight opened up.
Yeah, we got a few more drivers in the race tonight, and we got a lot of different faces that we don't normally see in the street stock division around here. But really, I think going to be one of those good old fun races at GC. It's going to be nice and short. It's going to be a 30-lap race, and it's going to be quite some fun.
And again, after this is going to be that 125-lap main event in the Tour Modifieds, but the straight stocks division that we have seen many a time, and as we've said, and we will continue to say, it is a non-points event for these drivers, so it is not something that they need to be immediately concerned about. Obviously, a big build just came out as of yesterday in the service, and drivers are still kind of getting adjusted to things, so this one is not going to count for points in that straight stock division. But I guess, Chris, we can talk about the points for this division coming into tonight, simply because, as I said, I think this is about the 8th or 9th time that we have seen this division with us on a weekly basis, and it's one that has very much been dominated by the likes of Matt Cucker, who has the most wins.
Yeah, Matt Cucker definitely knows how to use these cars and use them well around this track, and this track has been and this track car combination has been most known for the amount of contact that you can really give with these street stocks. You can really beat and bang on these things before you can get going here, before you actually have a problem with your car. So it should be interesting to see how all these drivers race here tonight, and I expect nothing less than previous weeks.
Jeremy Adams leads the points into tonight by 22 points. So for Matt Cucker, both drivers with 4 wins. You got Jonathan Smith, Kyle Levrow, and John Lyday are your top 5. The cars are on track. Let's look top to bottom at your LSRTV starting grid. Pole position for this race. But he go in favor as the leader pole sitter's not going. Robbie Bunden should be starting from pole position in this one. And as we continue on through to Wade Rooker going to start second. Don Bulow in the number 3rd spot. Wade Cheetah in 4th. And Jeremy Watkins rounds out your top 5.
Starting in 6th place is going to be Brandon Wilkinson with Will Dravicki starting 7th. Jeremy Adams, he'll start 8th. Matt Cucker and Randy Yoakum will share the 5th row, 9th and 10th.
11th goes to the 17 of James Moss. 12th is Todd Guerin. Sean Cross going to be 13th. 14th, James Milbacher. Tanner Cook is going to round out your 15-car field.
Now they lock them up top to bottom. We're getting set to go racing 30 laps for the street stocks under the lights for Myrtle Beach Speedway. Expect those names that we mentioned in the championship standings to be competitive, but again, no points on the line. So if there's any week that you could be, I don't know, maybe a little bit more aggressive, this is definitely the time to do it. Our 15-car grid sends it off 2x2 with the turns 3 and 4. And when the 87 was slow getting off of the pit lane, but we'll see if he's quick getting out of the gate as we come and look for the American Ethanol green flag, and we are off and away. Good start for the top, though. Rooker has him at the line, and it'll be tight to turn 1.
Yeah, looks like the number 87 is going to come up the track just a little bit. We have a lot of contact in turn number 2. There's going to be spinning, and there's going to be a big wreck on the first lap.
We were 2x2. Really, nobody got any separation off of the start on this one, and it's going to be contact between the 26 of Wilkinson and a 97 of Bailu, and I think more so contact as Bailu getting into the 26. He might have gotten loosened up a little bit. I think that 89 of Machine of Adams tapped him, and this 97 was already loose, so I don't think you can completely blame it on that car behind, but Wilkinson, an innocent victim of that one, nowhere for him to go, and then even somebody like a Will Dravicki getting damage as well, who was really nowhere near the initial contact, but just couldn't find a way through with all the smoke in turn 2.
Yeah, it just shows how quickly things happen here in Myrtle Beach. Evan Randy Yoakum, another one of those drivers who just had no other lane to go to, and he just kind of lightly tapped the 26 machine of Brandon Wilkinson. So very Unfortunate for all those drivers involved, but like you mentioned, Doug Bailu, it didn't look like he had it under control going into turn 1 at all, and just it showed he was bouncing off of Wilkinson, and eventually got some help by the 89 of Adams, but like you said, can't really put the blame on the driver behind. But now we go back up towards the front, as nothing's really changed with the top two, as Robbie Bundon and Wade Rickard are still going to be 1-2.
Changes there. Wade Sheeta is going to jump up from 4th to 3rd. Jeremy Watkins going to jump up from 5th to 4th. Aside from that, that's going to be some of the big changes up front. Obviously, for the 97 of Bailu, who drops way back and for all intent and purposes out of this race. Didn't take the car behind the wall, but that car is parked at a pit stall, and it looks like it needs some extensive repairs before it can get back to it. So we're going to get an opportunity to go back green, and it'll be treated as the start of the race once more. So keep an eye on, obviously, the battle down into turn number 1, because it means the 87 Abundant is not going to give an opportunity to get out and get a jump as controlling the restart. So Wade Rickard should have a good chance of challenging just like he did last time.
Yeah, when you have a caution on the first lap like you do for restarts and starts, you'll have to do it again. And so Robbie Bundon, he did not get the lead off the first couple corners, and so he'll get a chance to be right at it again here, Evan.
Cars off it in. Let's see if maybe either or of them learn something from each other. Trying to time that one, and we're going to go back into green flag conditions, side by side to the line amongst the two. Really driving it in hard is Wade Rickard, and he's got it. Second to first on the outside of the racetrack, kicks Bundon back to P2.
Yeah, Rickard was really powering on the high line there, and really just showed his strength as he powered by Bundon. Now look at the 22 of Sheeta and company. Bundon's in the wall hard, going to collect Matt Cucker into that mess as well, but Bundon goes basically to a complete stop on the front straightaway, as now drivers are wrecking behind him 3 wide. The 17 of James Moss going to go for a slide, but it looks like no caution going to be out as everybody kept it under control. Huge mess up here on the restart, Evan.
It was all around the 87 Abundant. He can't catch a break. He did hit the wall pretty hard, and I'm wondering how bad that damage is going to hinder him over the course of this race. He fell from 2nd to 11th in less than a half a mile race lead after he made that contact with the outside wall. Side-by-side battle, though, close to the front. It is for 3rd position, and Brandon Wilkinson is the challenger. Coming up the inside of Wade Sheeta. Maybe a little bit of contact that time, but at turn number 4, as the 22 tries to use the top side to defend, proves a difficult task, and Wilkinson will get the spot.
Yeah, and I haven't seen Sheeta race in quite some time, so it's good to see him back on the racetrack. But yeah, Brandon Wilkinson's got himself a fast race car tonight, because he does have, he did sustain some damage earlier on, but when I went back and looked at the replay, it really didn't look that bad. But I'm gonna start talking about him, start talking about the lead. Looks like Jeremy Adams is going for, he's gonna be on the right or the left side, left quarter panel of Wade Rickard right here going to turn number 3, and he tried to go for the pass earlier on. He's gonna try it. He's on the bottom of the side of the track, and he's getting pretty close to getting that lead right here, Evan.
Side by side, it's almost dramatic irony, if you will, that Rickard was able to take away the race lead from Bundon topside, and that's the lane he's forced in to defend. Jeremy Adams is not giving him any real estate, really pushed him up, and now a shot to the back end from Wilkinson. They're just beating up on Wade Rickard, and now he's going to be former race leader because Jeremy Adams cleared him at the line, and he can't even get in line. Contact again. He tries to door Wilkinson. That doesn't work, and he'll now fall to 3rd.
And now he has to fight off Matt Cucker from behind for that 3rd place position. But as you mentioned, nobody was giving him any room or any time to get back, and now he's going to clip the wall a little bit, open the door for the 69 of Matt Cucker to try to make the move. We talked about pre-race how Matt Cucker knew how to get around this track really well in these street stocks, Evan, and we're really seeing it now, because lap 12, here comes Matt Cucker from 9th, battling now for the 3rd place position. I don't think Matt Cucker will stop here just yet.
Jeremy Adams, your race leader, 4 wins on the year, 8 top 5s and 8 top 10s. He leads the championship standings. Matt Cucker also 4 wins on the year, 6 top 5s, 6 top 10s. He trails at the championship by 22 points. And again, he can't make up for that tonight, but you would expect both of those drivers to end up near the front. Cucker does take 2nd, or rather 3rd away, I should say, from Wade Rickard. But the battle with P2 is very much on it, because Brandon Wilkinson trying to come in here and play spoiler Taylor doesn't have a win in the street stocks. We have seen him win, though, on Wednesday nights in this Myrtle Beach Simulation Series, looking for his first in the street stocks all the year, though, and he's right there on Adams, taking a peek to the inside. We will be halfway home the next time by.
Wilkinson is not afraid to get that front bumper. He gave it to Ruckert, and he also has given it once or twice to Jeremy going into the corners. He knows he needs to get around him pretty quickly, but Matt Cucker's coming into the picture right here, and if he feels like he's faster, I'd say if you're in the 26 camp, you've got to really probably go for it one of these corners, because Cucker is absolutely coming. He's 8/10 back that last time. He's, chopped a little bit off that time, and I think the 26 car right now, he's trying some different lines, trying to really approach this in a couple of different ways, but right now he's just right behind Adams, and I think he could play dirty if he wanted to right now, but he's got half a race still left to go.
And we've seen, after the opening lap incident, this race be relatively green and clean since then, allowing guys to try to separate out a little bit. Battle between the top two, still about a car length apart. Matt Cucker, as we noted in third, is closing the gap, though. Last time by, just barely, but was the fastest car on the racetrack. That time around, a 21.146 for Adams, a 1.51 for Wilkinson, and an 0.99 for Cucker. So I don't know if it's just that he's quicker than them, or if that little bit of a battle going on in front is slowing them both down, but I think Cucker's got enough time with 12 laps to go this time around to be able to get into this and make it a three-way fight.
And it looks like right now that Brandon Wilkinson and Jeremy Adams have pretty much stalled each other out. There hasn't been too many moves made recently, which is not what Matt Cucker needs, because like you mentioned, he's the fastest car on track, but just barely. He's going to need them to start battling just a little bit more, just so he can get brought back up to this battle if he has any chance at, making a run for it, because passing two cars with just 11 laps to go is going to be a difficult task to do here at Myrtle Beach. So caution out one more time, scratch all of that. That's just going to change everything, Evan.
Winner was Randy Oakham. He was running in 11th position. No, he was 7th at the time, and it was a little bit of a late dive into the corner by the 30 Will Dravicki. The 4 gave him room, though. I think Dravicki just pushed a little bit too much up too hard into the corner. He will tag the left rear of the 4 machine. Randy Oakham spins around, and we do have a caution flag on the doorstep at 10 laps to go, and that might actually help out Matt Cucker if he can get a good restart, because that 0.6 of a second disadvantage is eliminated, and we're going to have everybody back on top of each other for a late race restart with maybe 8 or 7 laps to go.
And Jeremy Adams, I should say, he is going to still hold on to the lead. And don't forget, I think we have the cone car tonight, but it looks like it has not made an appearance. But I think it's there just in case, but it's not coming out. There it is. Cone car's coming off the track now. Oh, now I remember the first caution we had the full field restart, so cone car wasn't needed. So cone car's going to come out this time, and so you have the ability to take the top. And I'd say if you're Jeremy Adams, that's the place you want to be, because we've seen the top be really good for Ruckert, and we'll see how it happens for him as he comes to the cone car this time. But I think it's always really important where you go on this restart.
I don't really want to call the street stock race a short one, because it's about the same distance that we're used to seeing, so it's kind of on average with. But for a relatively short race, we've seen a lot of people make great progress through the field. Your race leader, Jeremy Adams, started in 8th. Your second place runner, Brandon Wilkinson, started 6th. And Matt Cucker started 9th. Not any, no big calls on the cone car. 89 wants inside, 26 wants top, 69 will be on the bottom. So the race started just as you would expect. In fact, the top 3 rows going to stay in line with that. So how aggressive are you going to have to get? 23 laps going to be complete, and nothing says that we get the next 7 laps from this point on to the end under green flag racing conditions. Do you force it 3 wide? But I think the biggest thing is going to be, does Adams clear Wilkinson topside, or if that 89 punches a hole through on the bottom and brings Cucker with him, Adams is going to be in a world of hurt stuck on the outside of the racetrack. Let's see how they figure it out, though, as we go green and the outside with a better jump. The 82 of Ruckert pushes the 26 of Wilkinson all the way to the corner.
And I don't think Wilkinson was really expecting it there, Evan, as now they're still going to be...
Oh, he's going to turn him!
Out to the outside wall. Caution's going to be out. Matt Cucker to the lead as more drivers pile in. The 18 of Todd Guerin going to slide in backwards into the back end.
Oh, he's
of
not
the
happy.
89.
Look at him. Yeah,
you can expect he's obviously not happy. We have seen at times this year, Coot, some emotion boil over, and again, the 26 machine on that is or the 89 rather, supposed to be the control car, and the 26 definitely left before him. Race control told them in the corner, you have to let him go back by. I don't think Jeremy Adams was really waiting for race control to say that. He moved him up and out of the way, and then because they were 3 wide, I do think that Adams didn't give the 26 a Wilkinson as much room as he probably could have, and when those cars made contact, Adams just happened to be the one that went around.
Yeah, I'll say when it comes to the incident in particular, I think you could always debate whose fault that is, but I think in the end it's a lot of just racing. You know, drivers are trying to get what they can, and I think the 89. I don't know if he realized or not that he was. I don't know if he realized or not whether he was 3 wide or not, but Wilkinson gave room, but also they were just fighting really, really hard. So Wilkinson and that was Rooker, they're having a little bit of fun for us. I don't know if it's fun for them right now, whether they're still having a heated battle, but fun for us. We'll have to keep our eyes on those two, as Matt Cucker got the lead, and when you're not the one to be talked about after a caution and you're leading the race, that's a pretty good thing.
Yeah, don't make anybody else upset, and if you get the race lead while everybody behind you wants to fight with each other, that I think you're doing a pretty good job. Cone car there in turn number 1. It is going to be topside once more for the 26 of Wilkinson, and Gucker just slots up for the inside of row 2 to the inside of the front row. He will come to take next time by the green flag and 3 laps to go in this race, and we're still far from over, but there's a lot of bad blood in the top 5.
Looking right here, turns 3 and 4. Looks like Matt Cucker is going to get the green flag. When does he go, though? He's already getting a bump from the 82 before the restart, but we're going to have a green flag right here with a few laps to go.
It's a good jump for the 69 on a door slam for P2. Wow, Rookard just pushed up on Wilkinson. Wilkinson going to cross him over. The fun is going to be for P2, Wayne Rookard, and Brandon Wilkinson, and he's going to take him out.
And that was about as blatant of a wreck if I ever seen one. I expected a little bit more of a civil restart on this one, as they're going to stay green. Matt Cucker still your leader, but that's going to move James Milbacher in the run out in the up into the 2nd place position. So definitely up from 14th to 2nd on that machine, but coming through 3 and 4 to take the white flag. Matt Cucker, no contest out the back.
No contest between anybody between Matt Cucker and company behind him.
James Milbacher jumped 3rd to 1st, and now out in front, going to be able to go home and take the win in the straight stocks. Final time off for Matt Cucker as he comes off of the corner, and he will take another checkered flag in the straight stock division.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Matt Cucker pretty much had that one locked down from the beginning of that last restart, but no, the talk is going to be about that incident turn number 3, but Cucker got advantage off of having an incident earlier, but definitely got a huge advantage whenever those guys started to beat and bang off of turn number 2 and into 3.
And that kind of shows, I think, Chris, there's varying mentalities that you could have at a race like this. You know, some will say, hey, you know what? It's short track racing. I'm going to go out there and my job is not to make friends, and all I care about is getting myself the win. Or I really don't care. And then there is the mindset that you could think Matt Cucker has subscribed to, and that is, I can use the bumper, and I might at some points, but there's no reason to run everybody over. And then I think, especially in tonight's a perfect example of that, if you're not making enemies, you make life a lot easier on yourself.
You really do, and that incident in 3 and 4 will be debated back and forth for a while to see who was really at fault there. I think we all have our own opinions, but for Matt Cucker, he definitely kept his nose clean for the most part in this one, as clean as you can for this race here, Evan, and he was able to walk away from 9th to 1st, so it was a great run by that 69 machine.
We'll get his thoughts on it in a moment. First, as always, let's look top to bottom at your LSRTV full race results. Matt Cucker takes home the win tonight. Would it be his 5th on the year? It's not a point, so it won't count towards those statistics, but it could prove to be a big momentum evening for him as he again continues to chase down your leader in the straight stocks, Jeremy Adams. Matt Cucker with the win here tonight. James Billbachler comes home at number 2 position with Wade Sheehan making his return, and coming home third tonight, Tanner Cook from the back to the front, 15th to 4th to get a top 5 result tonight, and Jeremy Watkins behind him finishes exactly where he started in P5.
Starting or finishing in the 6th position, Jeremy Adams, with Randy Oakham finishing 7th. Sean Cross finishes in the 8th position. Wade Rookert eventually finishes 9th after having a little bit of an incident with the 26th machine, and then Todd Guerin finished out the 9th there.
Robbie Bunyan going to round out the night in 11th. 12th goes to the 17 of James Mullins. Brandon Wilkinson going to round out 13th. 14th goes to Roger Rickey, and Doug Bailey is going to round out your top 15.
Look top to bottom at your LSRTV full race results. Let's see what Matt Cucker has to say. Following the exciting conclusion to tonight's race, the driver of the number 69 machine again started a bit of pack, made a charge up to the front of the field, and finds himself in the top spot when it mattered the most. Matt, congratulations. What did you see?
Now he's in here.
Matt, you got us?
Yeah, I got you.
There we go. Hey, congratulations on the trip to victory lane. You guys started 9th, and we knew that it was going to be just a matter of time, I think, simply until you were able to get up there, and we saw you guys get into the mix, but all of a sudden we get a caution with 7 laps to go. Before that yellow came out, you were about a half a second off. Did you feel like you were going to be able to get back up there, or did you kind of need that yellow to get that little bit more into the picture?
I think I definitely needed the yellow. I mean, the car, I was catching them, but it just I wouldn't have caught them by the end of the race. So I definitely needed to catch them because of the yellow, because it wasn't going to happen before that. So I was glad the yellow came out, but it's unfortunate for Jeremy. I don't know what happened there. I went back to try to watch the replay, but I just really couldn't tell. So, yeah.
Then you guys get that restart. You're on the inside of row 2 and 3rd. And a lot happened. We had contact for the race lead. On the ensuing restart after that, we had guys, I think, more or less just wrecking each other. For you guys being on the inside of the racetrack, did that kind of give you a benefit of staying out of that? And one thing that we kind of discussed up here post-race was the mentalities of short track racing, beat each other up, or I'm just not going to piss anybody off and I should be okay. And you didn't get on anybody's bad side, so you didn't get wrecked at the end, unlike some people.
Yeah, I mean, on that restart when all that went down, I saw the hole on the bottom, so I just put it down there, and I tried to stay as low as I could, just like on the initial start when they had the big wreck. I just went as low as I could down the backstretch to hopefully it wouldn't hit me, and it paid off this time.
Obviously, these straight stocks is a series that you're competitive in. You came into tonight 2nd in the championship, tied with Jeremy on wins on the year. I know this one isn't going to count towards those statistics, but I'm assuming that another trip to victory lane's got to feel pretty good for you guys. We're starting to really work our way into the season, and that means we're kind of paying a little bit more and more attention to the championships as weeks go on, and you guys are still well within striking distance. So what's your kind of thoughts going into the rest of the year in these cars?
It's going to be hard to catch Jeremy. I mean, because if he wins, then I lose points. If I win and he finishes 2nd, I'm not gaining that many on him. So it's definitely going to be hard to catch him. But we're going to try our best and see what happens at the end there for the championship.
We'll let you take off after another hard-fought night. But as always, you know the routine, Matt. The sponsor send a shout-out, so it makes it happen for you. I
got to thank Team Vincier and Jeremy for the set. I also got to thank iAnalyze, Globalcom. I thank you guys for broadcasting. Kyle and Myrtle Beach for putting us on. Kyle Barnes and Myrtle Beach. Hopefully we can come back and we'll be able to talk to you again in a little bit.
Wish you the best of luck for the race upcoming, but we appreciate the time, Matt. Congratulations once more, and for your sake, hopefully we will get an opportunity to chat later on.
Alrighty, thank you.
Race winner tonight in the straight stocks after 30 laps and a lot of torn up sheet metal. Matt Cucker ends up at the top of the pile. He is your winner tonight from the Myrtle Beach Speedway. We'll take another opportunity to step aside, but we are far from over because your main event is coming up next. The Tour Modifieds hit the track for a 125 lap feature. That's next. You're watching LSRTV's continuing coverage of the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series presented by the Championship Esports Association on your home for sim racing.
Racing, you wanted the best, you got them 4 abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
And welcome back live to the Myrtle Beach Speedway, where LSRTV's continuing coverage of the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series presented by the Championship Esports Association continues tonight. It is week 12 of this 2017-18 inaugural campaign, and we're happy that you're with us once more on Wednesday night. A little bit of a different format that we teased a little bit earlier on, really now going to come to the forefront after we saw Matt Cucker take home a win in the street stocks, because it is main event racing time, and we've seen some special events like this over the course of the season. Some one-offs, the 305 wing sprints earlier on. We saw outlaw late dirt models earlier on in the year, as well as the Dash for Cash Nationals just a couple of weeks ago. But this is a points race due up for the Tour Modified division, typically running Tuesday nights with the Championship Esports Association. They are joining us here tonight for a 125 lap main event. This is either the or Coop one of the longest races that we've seen on Wednesday nights this year.
Yeah, most definitely one of the longer ones we'll see. I think the biggest change for us is that this is a completely different series. It's kind of merged its way into the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series, and these guys just happen to be here for this race. They raced at USA a couple weeks ago, South Boston, Smyrna. They've raced at a few tracks so far, and you know, whenever it comes to these races in particular, they're big payout point races. There's a lot of points that'll be on the line, and if you miss a race, you'll be pretty far behind. You could just ask Matt Cucker. He's in 11th. He missed a race. He's 3 points behind David Messier right now. And there's a couple other things about the series that are different between your typical Myrtle Beach Simulation Series. There's only 2 tires you can get, and it is a fixed series. So these guys will not be able to adjust anything on the cars, and they'll only be able to take 2 tires. That means 2 rights or 2 lefts, which is going to be pretty dang important at a track like this.
And as if drivers even decide to take those, depending on how the course of this race is going to play out. And one of the fun things about this, I don't really want to call it a shorter format, Chris, because at the time these 125 laps are done, we would have been on the air for about 2 hours. But we did get an opportunity to see qualifying in these cars if you were with us right from the top of the hour at 9 o'clock Eastern when we went live. The single car qualifying, got to watch Jeffrey Martin take pole position. We typically don't get that opportunity. We come in and we let you know who's top to bottom in the running order, but we don't get to see how they got there. So a nice little treat to mix things up. Second time of the year I think we've been able to do live qualifying, and now we get to see them go at it. Qualified in the daytime though, late evening conditions as the sun was going down. We are racing at night, which could prove to be a little bit of a challenge as drivers try to figure out what kind of transitions that might take, any changes to the cars.
Yeah, and I think that qualifying really put it in perspective for us and for those of you watching at home, just the struggles of these cars and where these drivers really will be having trouble. And I think we saw that it's going to be going into turns 3 and coming out of 4, because even our points leader Christian Peterson, who is 23rd, was not, you know, immortal to those bobbles that they were experiencing going in through 3 and 4. And as a result of that, he's going to be starting mid-pack back in P13. So qualifying, definitely a good show here tonight, and should be a very, very fun 125 laps.
We are ready to go racing for it. Let's head down trackside and take a look at tonight's LSRTV starting grid. So Jeffrey Martin qualified on a pole position. That was courtesy of his 17.686 from earlier, and then I'm going to put him up front. Jeremy Adams alongside in the front row in second. Todd Guerin going to start tonight in third position, with Matt Cucker outside row 2 P4 and Wade Sheeta behind them in fifth.
Starting in 6th place is Jacob Board, and you've got Will Dravicki starting 7th with Tanner Cook. He's going to start in the 8th position. Ashton Tucker will start 9th, and Wade Rookert starts in 10th.
Jeremy Watkins is going to start 11th. Gary Strashoda is going to be 12th. Christian Peterson going to be 13th. David Cassidy at 11th. machine is going to be starting 14th, and 15th goes to Randy Yoakum.
We joined on that road by 16th place starter David Messier. You've got John Begaka starting 17th with John Clements joining him as well at 18th position. Jeff Rogers at 19th, and 20th is Sean Cross.
Starting in the last 4 positions will be Dalton J. Martin starting 21st, at the Merchant 22nd, Paul Henley 23rd, and Bobby Bundan will start the night 24th shotgun on the field.
Look top to bottom at your LSRTV starting grid. Again, 125 laps on the board. There is a time limit of an hour and a half. Don't expect that to be a factor at all. And with its racetrack clocking in at just a tad bit over a half a mile in length at 0.538 miles every single time around, this race going to be just a little bit under 130 miles. Of the green and the checkered flag. But the pace car is going to be down and in. Kind of interested to see how this race is going to play out. Is it going to be fast and furious from the start, or are people going to take it easy from the get-go, try to work themselves through and pace over the course of a very long 125-lap main event? Regardless, we're happy that you're with us at LSRTV and iRacing Live for tonight's main event. Green flag in the air, and it is outside. Jeremy Adams to the start-finish line, but the outside can't stick inside of 1 and 2, and so Jeffrey Martin fighting back nose-to-nose for the race lead.
That's definitely something you'll see in these modifieds. They're so flat on the bottom of the track. They're able to really power up the bottom. It's just as good as they are on the top side. And so you're going to see Jeremy Adams. Looks like he'll press forward just a little bit after already 1 lap. These cars are absolutely blistering fast. They're going to run sub-20 laps all night long, as we will see them come through turns 3 and 4. Jeremy Adams will get the lead over Jeffrey Martin. Looks like the top line is that preferred line tonight.
Side by side in the battle for second spot. Martin on the inside, and it might have been contact with Matt Cucker. If there was, it was in the slightest. It might have been Cucker just reacting to seeing Martin push up on him a little bit, but Cucker was mere inches from getting into the outside wall. He'll be okay. He hangs on. He will bounce back to 3rd position, but very much still in this one as we single file out the top 5. Todd Guerin behind in 3rd, and Wade Sheeta through the top 5 at the moment. No lead changes inside of the top 10 or so, obviously without the exception of the race leader, where Adams had that very good restart topside, just like we saw Chris in the straight stocks, to take over the race lead right on the get-go.
Yeah, he was able to power on that outside and able to take that lead. Now he's got kind of a decent little, 2/10 gap to about to the 07 of Jeffrey Martin, I should say, as Matt Cucker's trying to battle back through there. After you saw him check up and look at him get right up on the back end of the 07 machine, trying to power his way by. Maybe you see him cut down to the inside line, maybe try to stick that nose in there, and he does. Gonna stick it right there next to that right side, and gonna get in there side by side and pass the 07 and clear him with ease going through turns 1 and 2.
Another swap for position inside of the top 5 as Cucker kind of trying to take back that spot. I know that Matt started in 4th. It's the first time tonight he's been to P2, but it was in a pretty good position to challenge Martin topside, and then there was the close to or the contact nonetheless. But I think he's got a quick car, because that time went to the bottom and looked just as competitive. And now he sets his side of the race leader. Not going to matter. Caution flag is out. Somebody's the wrong way on the back straightaway, and it's Jeremy Watkins.
Yeah, looking at where Jeremy Watkins was on the field, looks like he's all by himself, and gonna have to take a couple looks at exactly what happened, but it looks like he touched those rumbles. In a car like this is not a car you can do it in. There's a few of them that you can, but touching those rumbles will definitely get you spun around real quick. And well, that's exactly what happened. Is he has I think a lap down. It took him that long to get spun around. The turning radius in these cars is pretty low.
He couldn't get it rotated, and he is going to lose a lap. That's the same spot on track, Chris, that we saw a wreck in the qualifying session. I believe it was Dalton Martin who got hard into the outside wall. Obviously, I'd take a spin over a big wreck any day of the week, but it proves to show you that these guys are cheating at a turn number 2, and if you get caught crossing that line a little bit too much, it'll bite you.
Yeah, it looks like Jeremy Watkins' wreck wasn't quite as severe as that one we saw in qualifying. The one we saw in qualifying basically lifted that car off the ground and basically sent it into the outside wall. So like you mentioned, I'd take that spin over that wreck any day, especially in race time. But now they're going to be able to restack them. And for Jeremy Adams, I don't know if I want that 69 machine of Matt Cucker right up on my outside just yet. So we'll have to see just how well that 69 does on the outside, just as we saw Jeremy Adams power on the outside on the start.
Should also note that there was a penalty assessed to the 32 machine of Ashton Tucker, and he has been parked for the evening. We are back under iRacing's caution flag system. That's why you see the typical iRacing.com official pace car out onto the racetrack, as opposed to us sending Coop down trackside or somebody to navigate it, which means that these caution flag periods going to be a little bit longer than what we typically see on these Wednesday night simulation series races, which I don't think is that big of a factor when we're talking about a 125 lap race. If you're spending 5-6 laps of the yellow in our 30 lap races, it's much bigger of a difference. So not that it's a huge effect on this race, but should probably just preface why these yellows going to be taking a little bit longer, and it also takes away the opportunity to choose inside and out throughout the pack as well. So if you're an even numbered position, you're top side. If you're odd numbered, you're going to be on the bottom.
Yeah, and with that caution coming out, I think it sets these guys up on knowing what their short run speed is. Definitely looking at Jeffrey Martin, thinking he might have to dig a little harder on this restart. He had a fantastic qualifying effort, and right now he currently sits in third. You can definitely watch maybe how these guys get through the corners on this long run. I think that's going to be really important. But watching Adams and Cucker, you kind of navigate this field right now, really looking at them being extremely solid so far throughout the night, and just that they're very, very stiff with their wheel. They're not making a whole lot of movements going through the corners.
Doubled up and getting set to go back. Restart going to come with 19 cars, rather 20 cars. So Ford on the lead lap in this one. American Ethanol green flag. It's Adams on the inside, Cocker on the outside. A better jump for the driver on the outside of the racetrack. We saw this, ironically enough, from Adams on the start of this race. Can Matt Cocker go to the race lead? He is clear down the back straight away. Adams going to keep it nose to the inside, but out of 4, caution, a flag and a fly.
Oh, a couple drivers coming in late on that one as well. Looks like Will Dravicki, he's had quite an eventful night, and he slowed down for the 3 of Jacob Porter, and looks like the number 4 of Randy Okun decided he was going to try and go to the outside, but the 30 was already there, and just ran straight over him. Not really a lot other than that, but I think Randy just thought he wasn't up there, and with the guy is on the outside checking up, I think that's something you got to think about when you're on the inside lines. That driver is out there, and you just kind of have to stay on the bottom on a restart like this.
Contact back in the pack, I think, didn't take much away from the battle for the race lead. I think Cocker was all but clear by the time it came out, but this race, I think, is going to have more of a conventional style than what we typically see on Wednesdays, with the race distance being what it is, Chris. I think we kind of have to expect some yellows early on, a couple of restarts, but I have no doubt that green flag portion is going to break out, and if you don't really get a look at a 15 or 20 lap run until we really go green for a while, it could be difficult to kind of gauge where your car is on the long run. But Matt Cocker didn't seem too concerned about conservative. He has been going at it from the start, and a nice move on the outside second time. He's now your race leader. So now we'll see if he can hang on to the inside. Adams is going to have an opportunity to try to get redemption. He'll be right back where he started this race originally, and that'll be outside of the front row in P2. But I think Cocker looked just too quick there early on.
He did, but it'll be very interesting to see if Adams can do what he did on the start once again to Cocker, as we've seen that outside line being dominant here at Myrtle Beach in these Touring Modifieds. So it'll be interesting to see if we're just going to play flip-flop for these cautions here, Evan, and see if Jeremy Adams can get Matt Cocker back going through the corners. So yeah, we'll have to see when that comes back. As for the wreck, I'll have to give the drivers that kind of came in a little bit too late the benefit of the doubt there, because these cars travel so fast around this track, Evan, and at this track there's not really that much room for error. So as you're coming into that corner kind of blind, you don't really see the drivers coming, and when you do, you can't really get on the brakes and expect a full stop. So I'll definitely give those drivers the benefit of the doubt that time as we get ready to stack these guys back up and go green.
Right, again, closing in on what'll be 100 laps to go, and we get 25 laps behind us so far through 18 laps in this Tour Modified main event. It's Cucker, Adams, Martin, Guerin, Sheeta, the top 5, Porter, Cook, Ruckert, Peterson, and Clements, the top 10. Biggest mover so far to this point, I believe, is Seth the Merchant, who has gone 22nd to 12th, had picked up 10 positions, still finds himself in the middle of the pack, trying to work his way through. He did not take a time in qualifying. He started so far back, so there is going to be excitement up front, no doubt, but there's obviously funny going on to mid-pack. You can get a look at every single time by the running order by keeping your eyes both on the battle on screen, but also on the ticker up at the top of the screen as well, letting you know where everybody runs at the moment. Let's do it again, though. Second time off of a yellow flag. We go back green, and it is the outside once more. This time, Jeremy Adams, he wants to challenge for the race lead. Can Matt Cucker defend on the inside? Looks like it, not clear, but a half a car length advantage.
Yeah, that outside looks like it's really hooked up, and we've seen this with a lot of other cars, but I'm really surprised with the modifieds right here. Cucker's putting up a pretty good fight, but that outside lane is really, really good. You see Cucker go all the way to those rumbles on the bottom, and looks like that's going to make him a little bit slower off the corner, so give Jeremy Adams the advantage at the stripe last time, and he's going to get the advantage going out of 4 right here at bottom, just not being where you want to be. So Cucker is going to have to concede to second place right here as the battling goes on behind them for 4th. Oh, he gets a nudge on. Oh, he's done.
And it is a big mess. Jacob Porter up and over, pole vaulting. For another driver who's on his lid, the yellow flag is back out, and it started just as a little bit of contact. There was one piece of contact, and then it looked like the 3 was going to be able to hang on. Got into the outside wall, but there's really, Chris, nothing preventing these tires from ramping up and over the wall. So when he got the wall, he didn't bounce over it. He kind of kicked the right side of that car up in the air, and at that point, came right back down in front of, I think that was Wade Rooker's 82, and at that point, it's a lost cause. And it was a big mess. I think DeMerchant might have been caught up in that one. It was just noting he was your biggest mover. He gets some damage in that one, and about 5-6 cars end up in the pile in turn 3.
Yeah, it was such a crazy wreck, and very unfortunate for that 3 machine of Jacob Porter, as he was, you know, trying to just, like you mentioned, slight contact to turn into him getting launched down the back straightaway, kind of like what we saw in with Gabe Wood in the U-Car division that one time, where he took flight and flew across. But very, very unfortunate for Jacob Porter in this one, as we just get word from race control that this restart coming up here is going to be single file.
A couple of yellows in a row means that it will be a single file restart, which is typical racing procedure, and so not a surprise in that one. We are now at that 100 lap to go point, by the way, 25 laps down, 100 laps to go, and the big takeaway from that is the fact that Jeremy Adams of the 80 Honda machine was able to get back in front of Matt Cucker. I had thought that Cucker was going to be quick enough on the inside of the racetrack, but top side just proving to be too good. And now Cucker going to get an opportunity, Coop, to go back green and get it back, because now he gets topside. That's the give and the take with not being able to choose your lane from the cone car. Is the guy in second probably going to be in a better restart position all night long compared to the race leader?
Yeah, he's definitely going to get another shot at it. And you know, looking at some of these guys, you know, coming down pit road, a lot of them coming down for damage. Also got to think about those drivers who did go up and over. I just want to mention that once those cars are upside down, there's really no way to get them back onto their wheels. No matter how hard you try, they're so flat on both the surface of the track or on the top of the car and on the bottom. A lot of drivers, including Christian Peterson, are down for repairs, trying to get those repaired. But once you go up and over, even if you go a little bit sideways, it's typically not good for you or anyone else. So looks like after all is said and done, Seth the Merchant will be at the front of this field getting a wave around, as well as David Cassidy giving the lead right back to Jeremy Adams.
We will see if Adams can pull the defensive move. The good news for him, again, he's not going to have to deal with Matt Cucker off on the outside. If we do see those 2x2 restarts later on this evening, it's going to be a challenge. But I think Adams kind of lucking out here with the fact that he ends up in front at the first single file. Go at it once more. Don't be surprised, though, if Matt Cucker tries to make an aggressive move. As we come back to the green flag, they run in the middle of turn number 4. The outside is an open lane on the restart, and it's going to be tight to the bumper. Everybody wants to jack up. Nobody wants to force a move yet. You can't make a move before the start-finish line, so we are going to be single file through 1 and 2. Battle for the race lead is on, though. Here comes Cucker, thinking about which lane to go to, not committing yet.
That single file is really helping him out here, as it looks like the top 3 are just kind of pulling away here just by a little bit, but looks like we got a 2x2, or top 4, or top 5 actually is pulling away quite a bit, but it looks like, yeah, it looks like the number 96 of Tanner Quick's trying to pull alongside some of these guys right here for, looks like, just inside the top 10.
And if anybody else is going to be able to get it going 2x2, you've got McNaughton fighting, but that one much further back in the pack. The biggest excitement is for 6th on back. In 7th position, Will Trevicki lost a little bit that last time around. Jacob Porter also having some issues as he's going to drop out of this thing.
Yeah, just a few drivers dropping out of this one pretty early in race standards here for this big race here tonight, Evan. But, you know, one driver that seemed to really benefit off of that single fire restart has to be the leader, Jeremy Adams, because before that we were seeing a lot of flip-flop between Matt Cucker and that 89 machine, and with that he was just able to keep, and now he's kind of managing the gap between Matt Cucker right now in 1st and 2nd, so able to keep out in front. You see him kind of running that middle line, and then he'll kind of cut it, not really cut it that time coming through 3 and 4, so maybe kind of eat my words, but really riding comfortable in front of Matt Cucker. But I don't think he can really stay comfortable for too long if you just saw that run that Matt Cucker got through 1 and 2.
Out 2, trying to stretch a little bit, something we really haven't seen this evening. Todd Guerin's doing a great job. Started 3rd, still runs in 3rd, and has been doing a fairly decent effort to not let Adams and Cucker get away. But I feel like if this stretches out green a little bit, they might be able to pull some distance. But the top 5 cars still scored within a second of each other. And what these early wrecks have done, Coop, is it has brought the field down, at least, of cars on the lead lap to 16. That gives a lot more spacing for guys, and you couple that with a single file restart, this could be the start of that green flag run we've been waiting on.
That also gave, I think, one of the biggest advantages that you could when you're the leader, and that's just the fact that you didn't have to have somebody contesting your outside. I'm sure Matt Cucker's pretty upset about the fact that he didn't get the chance to get that lead on the outside lane. It's a huge advantage, but when you start to think about it, he's now being pressured by Todd Guerin, and if it was just double file, it'd be him versus Adams side by side. And he probably would have it, seeing how strong that outside lane is. So, like I said earlier, that top 5 is, the top 5 is just gone away from everyone else. And then you've got to go all the way to Dalton J. Martin, who started in the 21st position, and he's all the way in 6th place. Done a lot of adversity throughout this race. And also want to have an update on John Clements. He looks like he's disqualified for taking some extra tires.
That'll do the trick. You mentioned it at the top of this thing that you're only given a limited amount of tires for the inside, or the left sides and the right sides, I should say. Any more than that, your night's going to be done. And race control closely monitoring pit lane even in these early laps of this race. It's your one-way ticket to the garage. I think for the brief moment, one of the first times tonight, we are single file, top to bottom. Doesn't mean that we're really seeing that separation up front. Last time by, closing in a little bit, was Matt Cucker on Adams. But I do think that 69 machine, Chris, is going to struggle a fair bit passing Jeremy Adams. Unless we really get deep into this run where somebody's tires fall off, and that's not going to happen. Caution flag is out. Just as I say that, it looks like it is Wade Ruckert around from P5.
Yeah, it looks like to be that 28 machine. If we can get the replay up here as I try to fast forward back around to it.
It looks single like car spin, and I can tell you this based on the fact that even if you don't get to the video, if you want to guess, turn 2 rumble strips. So he got onto those curbs, got that car sideways. I think we've seen 3 drivers get bit by that so far to this point tonight.
I think so, yeah. Just drivers just trying to get more real estate than really is on offer. When you start to really look at how deep they're going into the corner or how high they're arcing it, they could use that extra space if those weren't there. But it's more or less for those guys coming off pit road, but it's really affecting those guys on the track right now. You know, like I said earlier, certain cars are really able to use it, certain cars really aren't. So, really, I think a really big deal for Wade. With as fast as he was, he'll probably be able to get back up there, but I think one of those things where you've got to really pay attention to where your wheels are. This is a really wide car. That's something you just got to really pay attention to.
I was surprised to see that issue come from somebody so far up in the running order, and it'll tighten things back up. The start of this race, you know, Chris, when Coop was talking about the tires, I'd also said it depends if people even want to get tires on how this race is going. You figure if it goes green through, some drivers might not even want to come down. I'm fairly surprised. I know we're not at halfway yet. Maybe when we get to that point, it might be a little bit more primitive of a call, but maybe nobody up front so far taking, you know, just 2 tires for the time being, and then maybe at, you know, 2/3 distance also taking 2. This is a format that obviously these guys in the Tour Modified Series are used to running on a weekly basis. We also see this, you know, specific format as well, what we see on Thursday nights with the Upstate Racing League as well, so it's not a concept that is unfamiliar to us either, but the people up front seem to think that tires are in the back at the moment and not a concern.
Plus, you also got to keep in mind here, guys, with this new single file restart rule, how you know, just track position will be key, because we saw with that single file restart that Matt Cucker didn't really get up and that close to Jeremy Adams, but now I guess it looks like they're going to be doubling them up, so that won't really matter. Maybe we'll see if tires become more of a issue with the inside and the outside line now playing a factor.
Well, now 69 Matt Cucker is topside. Again, Adams didn't have to deal with this challenge. Not sure if it's been every single restart, but it feels like it, that top car on the front row has had the better jump, has been able to take over the race lead. Matt Cucker has done it before. We'll see if he can do it again. Off the green flag run, we go back to a 2x2 restart. 42 laps down, 80 laps to go for the Myrtle Beach Speedway. It's not a fantastic jump from the 69, but he's got a nose on the outside. Adams really wants to clear him at 1 and 2, take that line away, and he's almost there, and he's gonna get it. Cucker tight into the wall, and Adams maintains.
That's going to prove costly to him, but look at the battle for third right now. Looks like Wade Sheena almost hits the wall right there. He gives the 12 a bump, or the 91, or who is that? That's Todd Guerin, yeah, and the 18, he gives him a slight bump right on the front straightaway and makes him know that he was racing hard, but maybe just give him a shot back, and he's going to try and go back on the bottom side right here. 22 is definitely a really fast driver in these cars. I actually raced a championship with him a year ago, and he and I raced for that championship, but he's definitely really fast in these cars, and definitely wants to probably get 3rd place back, and also wants to try and hold off Tanner Cook behind him.
Tanner Cook, somebody who has been hanging out, but Dalton Martin, I think, the most impressive driver so far to this point. Seth the Merchant had to been your biggest mover. Last time we kind of checked in on that, he was in a wreck immediately afterwards, so I don't want to jinx it on anyone, but he started 21st and is up to P5 by far and large. The biggest mover so far this evening, and again, he's the driver who wrecked in qualifying early tonight, so obviously that race car much better than deserving the 21st starting position. He's worked his way up in a relatively short amount of time with not all that many laps agreeing to be able to do so, so an impressive run for the .81 machine so far.
It really is, and I really think that he learned a lot off of that qualifying run, off of hitting those bumps, because you haven't seen him anywhere, you know, near going even close to riding those bumps in turn 1 and 2 now, and it's really paid off, because as you mentioned, P5. Meanwhile, for the battle between Adams and Cucker had the run coming out of turn 4, but lost it all, getting tight out of turn 4. Now he's got to work his way back up to Jeremy Adams and try to get that back end once again, but Jeremy Adams seems to have this place figured out, and Matt Cucker defeated for the time being.
And quelled that charge for the moment, and even though, again, Matt wasn't able to get the race lead spot, he's still there. I don't think you're really going to be able to pull away from him, and yet I think that Adams, once we get under green flag conditions, is in a pretty comfortable position. just as is. Dalton Martin, though, does have some company. Tanner Cook, Christian Peterson, not all that far off behind Tim, and even the 07 to Jeffrey Martin trying to pick back up after starting on a pole, falling to P8. You've got these groups of 2-3 cars here and there throughout the field. Nobody's side by side, though, at the moment.
Yeah, closest battle really looks to be for those first couple positions, first 4 positions, the battle for first and the battle for third as well. Really, you know, I think Jeremy Adams in the long run is starting to really pull away just quite a bit. So, you know, and then look at Christian Peterson trying on the outside here of, it looks like Jeffrey Martin. Actually, that's Peterson on the bottom with Tanner Cook on the outside. Tanner doesn't typically wear those kind of colors, but okay, he's on the outside trying to defend against Peterson, at least at the moment. And Peterson really wants to try and dive down to the very bottom of the track, but not going to happen. Another driver, by the way, has been penalized and pulled from the racing surface. Randy Yoakum took 4 tires as well, and so after even 4 races, tires is still going to disqualify some drivers.
And I'm sure if it's a thing where you think, you know, I'm a little bit back in the pack, I got into an accident, and maybe you can get away with something. I don't really think that's what these guys are doing, Chris. I think it's just you get in an accident, you come down pit road, you don't take off the option to get 4 tires, and that's a violation of the rules. It's one of those cases where if you have somebody on top of the pit box, it could really help you out.
Yeah, it really could, and I think that's just it. You don't really think about it. You just got, you know, done spinning out, wrecking, or even Jacob Porter's situation, flipping, and you're down pit road, and you're not even thinking about, you know, checking to see if you have those tires, if you're taking tires or not. So it's a common mistake, and it's proven costly for a whole lot of drivers here tonight. Meanwhile, a big battle going on for the P6 position between the 23 of Christian Peterson and the 96 of Tanner Cook. Christian Peterson trying everything he can to get by. You see him clip the bumps there just a little bit and get sideways coming off of turn 2. That's going to stop his run on the inside line for a little bit, but he's still going to have the nose there coming through 3 and 4. Not going to quite make the move as Tanner Cook holds on to P6.
They're trying to be able to defend. He's right in the middle of all of that chaos, though. Peterson now kind of sandwiched in. He's got the 07 of Martin right on his back bumper, or I guess the chrome horn, if you will. Before you get to any of the battle on those cars, you got to get through those bars. That allows these cars to lend themselves to some contact. With the open wheel nature of them, I would recommend against that, or you'll end up doing the pole vault 2 months before the Olympics like we saw in turn 3 earlier on this evening. Here comes Peterson, though, looking to the inside onto the 96. He'll make a hard dive into turn 1. Inside's been difficult, and he's going to get squeezed down. Cook not going to give this one up easy.
I was still looking, and I think he might have gotten tight just right there in the turn, but looks like a caution is going to stop all of the action. There's a battle for the lead right there, too. Looks like it also just got cut up, but I don't actually see a car around.
Sean Cross in the 83. Yeah, he saved it pretty quickly, but he did get tapped. I think it was a battle for position. No, was it with a lap car? Jeremy Watkins 1 lap down, and Cross on the lead lap, went side by side into the corner, and I think Cross was trying to overtake that lap car, and tough one. You know, Watkins pushed up a little bit, but I'd like to give that guy as much room as possible, and Sean Cross backed it into the turn 3 wall pretty good there for the yellow.
Yeah, and it looked like, you know, the 90 of Watkins kind of just pushed a little bit too hard going into that corner. It just shows how, you know, touchy these cars are, Evan. You know, with that slight bit of contact to the left side, just sent that car up and into the wall. So very unfortunate for the 83 of Sean Cross all the way back in 15th. He is actually going to be the last car on the lead lap there. So move back up towards the front, where what Coop said, a battle was heating up just between Matt Cucker and Jeremy Adams, and I was looking at the relative, and it looks like they were just inside a 10th, so that battle could have been heating up just a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see once we get this restart underway to see if Matt Cucker has anything for the 89 of Jeremy Adams.
Back under the yellow flag once more. Adams maintains the race lead. It'll be Cucker, Guerin, Sheeta, and Martin inside of the top 5. Just about halfway, so let's take a quick look top to bottom. Use this opportunity to take a look at your iRacing Midway Race Break, brought to you by iRacing. The leading online racing simulation developed from the beginning as a centralized racing and competition service. iRacing organizes, hosts, and officiates races on tracks from all around the globe. And in the fast-paced world of esports, iRacing is your one-stop shop for online racing. Jeremy Adams is your race leader at lap number 67. Matt Cucker rides P2 with Todd Guerin third, Wade Sheeta fourth, and the biggest mover on the night, plus 16, Dalton Martin running in P5. Christian Peterson is sixth at the moment. Tanner Cook seventh. Big improvements for Sean Cross despite the EOL penalty that he is going to be given. He runs in 8th position. Pole sitter Jeffrey Martin now 9th, and Jeff Rogers rounds out your top 10.
Going to 11th, that's going to be John McNacka. David Cassidy is going to be 12th. Jeff Rogers is going to be 13th. Seth Demershin is going to be 14th. 15th goes to Will Dravicki. 16th, Jeremy Watkins. 17th, David Messier. Robbie Bunden, 18th. 19th goes to Wade Rookard. 20th, Randy Yoakum. 21st, Jacob Porter. 22nd, John Clements. And Ashton Tucker going to round out your field.
Look top to bottom at your full race results. For more information, or for your midway race break, I should say, for more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities online, you can visit iRacing.com to sign up today. And with all of the new stuff that's come in 2017 dirt racing, but I think most recently yesterday Rallycross, there's no better time to sign up. If you go to iRacing.com/World of Outlaws, you can get a couple of pretty cool promo deals. 3 months for less than $5, or a 1-year membership for over 50% off. That's iRacing.com/World of Outlaws. Meanwhile, in the Tour Modifieds, we're racing now to the end, past halfway and counting down as we go back green. Cocker with a good restart topside. Can he challenge for the race lead? He winds it up at a turn number 2. Yes, sir.
He's able to get that by a large margin. He just powered it in turn number 1, and was able to have the momentum in turn number 1. But here comes the number 22 coming around. Looks like the 18 right there. Those two have been having a good battle. Look at Christian Peterson on the outside. He's going to scrape right by with a lot of momentum. And so he's going to be able to take that position on the outside. And he's going to try and look to get around the number 89 of Jeremy Adams as well. Does not have enough momentum right now. And Wade is going to have to go back to 4th once again, as Christian Peterson has figured out the racetrack tonight. He did not get a qualifying lap that was satisfactory, I'd say, for him. And he's definitely put himself in a good position to go for a win right now.
All about picking up as the night goes on. That way, if this is the final one, a late race restart, you're in the conversation and you're close enough to make something happen. Sheeta almost that time clearing Todd Guerin. Not going to happen. The 23 mission of Christian Peterson's been able to break away. Now he sets his sights on Adams for P2, and we're going to get contact for 3rd. And there goes Todd Guerin.
Yeah, Guerin's going to be parked up against the outside wall going into turns 1 and 2, as a lot of contact, like you mentioned, coming out of the corner and crossing the start-finish line between him and that 22 machine. So very unfortunate for the 18 machine, especially getting late into this race. He's even going to clip the 07 of Jeffrey Martin. So hard crash, a lot of contact going on, and that's going to slow everything down, just as Christian Peterson was getting a full head of steam for that 2nd place position.
I know that Guerin got sideways and came down, but it also looked like that, Sheeta was pushing up the hill so much that there wasn't much more than barely a car length of space up there. The 18 might not have spun if he was straight, but I think that there was going to be contact there under any circumstance, and this is going to bring drivers down pit road. Sheeta's down pit road past halfway, so is Christian Peterson. For the people up front trying to defend track position, Adams does not bite on it. I think the biggest call or biggest exchange in all of this may very well be the fact that Matt Cucker in the 69 has come down as well. He's going to go with tires, 2 right sides only.
I guess I'm really surprised that the 07 of Jeffrey Martin's not coming down. He got a big lick on the outside lane and on the outside line, and he got a lot of damage, guys. And I don't know how good that car is going to be whenever he goes back out there to race. I mean, he got hitting the left rear and then hit the wall multiple times with that right side. And these cars are really tough, you know, they're really tough, but even knocking the front end of it might do a lot for a lot against Jeffrey Martin. So expect just keep an eye on the 07 just to see, but I know what he's banking on, and I think I'd do the same thing if I was him. Is if it does blow up, I mean, it's not like you can really improve by, you know, going down pit road and making a little adjustment of you know, sheet metal, of getting it back together, and he can hope that the car is fine, get 2 tires later on in the game. I think that's the right strategy if you're the 07 camp.
Going to put him in a very good position, because assuming that we aren't going to be doubled up again, because you know, we didn't get a bunch of short yellows in a row, which led to the only single file restart that we've seen tonight, it would be the first opportunity for Martin to go back topside, but puts himself in a position that maybe he can, if not at least challenge for the race lead, be in a comfortable position to maintain P2. You do have to wonder how good is that buffer going to be back to the guys with fresh tires. If Matt Cucker was indeed the first guy off with fresh tires, he's restarting in 7th, so there is a good amount of cars between the guys in the front row and him.
There is. He does have quite a bit of a buffer between him and, you know, Matt Cucker, Christian Peterson, and all the other drivers that came down to take tires as they get ready to double, or they are doubling them up and getting ready to go back green. But one driver I am pretty surprised with about that has the speed is Christian Peterson, because looking back at it, Evan, he was the one that played stunt ramp with Jacob Porter there and got that whole bout of nose damage. So he's doing really well managing that 13th to 8th right now.
See if he's going to be able to hang on over the course of the night, keep that car at 1 apiece. That's the thing that would have conquered the race earlier on tonight. We go back green. A fantastic start by Martin. Look at him all over the back bumper of Jeremy Adams. He clears Martin topside, rather he clears the 07 on the outside of the racetrack. It is Dalton Martin passing Jeffrey Martin for 2nd and 3rd.
I have a feeling that the 07 may not have everything in the cards anymore since that accident, but he's still putting up a good fight. Look at Paul Henley going all the way to the top of the track, getting a lot of momentum. He's still on the outside. I think we're going to see a little bit of 3 wide. Not quite at this moment. Looks like John McNaca is going to have to really pull back on that one, as he was 5th last time across the stripe, and right now he's going to start fighting for 7th place right now versus the 22 Wade Cheetah, who just got new tires. So look at these guys. Look at the 69 of Matt Cucker getting blocked by Paul Henley right there in the corner, and you definitely know that he's not going to be appreciative of that, but he's going to try and get there in the outside, plenty of room between those two still. But battle for first is still raging on. Dalton Martin trying to catch back up to Jeremy Adams.
The gap is 0.2 of a second at the moment. It was an impressive run for Martin, looking for a little bit of redemption after smacking the outside wall in turn 2 during qualifying. I don't know, though, if he's got P1 speed. The car's comfortably P2. Matt Cucker's been able to make a big charge, though. He's already passed 3 drivers off for the restart with his fresh tires. He'll get another restart to get some more. Yellow flag flying again, and it might be for Robbie Bundon. He's slow on the inside. I think it was the 87.
Yeah, it looks like it is going to be the 87 of Robbie Bundon, going to try to get the replay back as he was slow on the apron. He looks like he got a little bit of contact too going on the front straightaway between him and that 57 machine of Seth the Merchant. Gonna send, and it looks like it was kind of the same thing we saw with the last caution. Contact down the front straightaway just led that car very quickly up into the outside wall and pretty much parked there, but he was able to get it turned around pretty quickly and get back going. So and his car doesn't look too beat up, and the back end looks good. So definitely could have been a lot worse for that 87 machine.
And obviously a night for Bundon, as he was already in 16th position and off for the lead lap. That could have used some improvement, but because of the fact that only he and Messier are running 2 laps down at the moment, it's not going to really affect him any much more, although obviously that car is going to get some damage, which I'm sure he would have much appreciated to not have to deal with. He gives us another yellow flag, and I think that the cautions portion of this race, if you will, coming a little bit earlier than I expected. Still with a tad now under 40 laps to go in this race, I think, Cooper, it would be pretty difficult to kind of break out of this slump, considering the fact that every restart now, less and less laps to go for the drivers who got tires. They may be now committed to taking what they've got to the end of this race, and that gives very little incentive for anybody to give it, to take it any easier on one another.
Yeah, and I'll say that what this caution does is this lets that anyone who didn't come down for tires earlier is really going to put them at a slight disadvantage over anyone who just came down to get those tires. I'd say that you might be looking at drivers like Seth the Merchant, who just got the who just caused the caution. He could actually benefit from it, so I don't know exactly how race control is going to work on that. But drivers like Will Dravicki, he's coming down probably for damage. But anyone else who came down and got tires this last time, I think maybe the 91 adult and Jay Martin might be one of the only guys who came down. But I think this is a huge benefit for him, and he might be able to do something with it, with the fact that he's got just a few more laps extra tires.
And obviously, the longer on into this run you go, that advantage would get a little bit less and less. But if you're not counteracting that with even newer tires, then it's going to be pretty difficult to find something that you can pull out to give yourself any sort of an advantage. And now that Matt Cucker finds himself up on the front row and to the outside of Jeremy Adams, I think he's pretty much primed to go for the race lead. I would argue better line, also working with the better tires, should be in a good position. Don't count out Peterson, Henley, Sheeta, who round out the top 5, though. If that 68 beats the 69 off of the quarter and then somehow slows it down on those old tires, watch for somebody to try to force the issue to make it 3 wide. Here we come, one of the last times tonight. 89 laps complete for this one, and the 89 machine is trying to challenge it for the race lead. Had it at the line, but outside it is Matt Cucker, side by side for the top spot on track, and keeping each other honest all the way to 3 and 4.
Yeah, they've been racing side by side this entire race, and if that was to be for the win, Jeremy Adams would actually have it on the bottom. I'll tell you what, being on the very, very bottom of the track is, as we've seen, just not been the place you want to go. It's just not as fast, but right now he's going at the track. He's going to give the 69 a little bit of a bump, and he's going to be able to get in front of him here at the start-finish line. He might be able to use this to cut right in front of the 69, but looks like he's not going to right now. He's going to be able to get the position, though. That little bump, that little bobble got into Matt Cucker, gave Jeremy Adams the lead right there.
And if it was intentional or not, he got the result that he wanted, and that was sole possession over the race lead. And this in and out, Cucker's under attack. Here comes Peterson to the inside of the racetrack. It'll be difficult to pass down there, but really tight on each other. Nice defensive move by Cucker. Caution flag back out. I believe the 11 of David Cassidy with issues in turn 4.
Yeah, David Cassidy. Slow. It looks like he got some contact as well. A little bit of a help from Will Dravicki, and that 30 machine just kind of, it looks like the 11 of Cassidy kind of just moved up the track there, Evan, and I don't think the 30 really expected it. Didn't have time to slow down, got in the back of him, and then look at the contact getting right back into the 30, sending the 30 into the wall, and then the 57 getting involved and slowly parking it down towards the grass in the infield. So a lot of contact and a lot of stuff happening there through 3 and 4.
A lot going on, and that one just kind of goes to prove that there could be competitive and edgy racing, if you will, top to bottom in the field. Kind of disappointed at the time of that one because it takes away from what I'm sure was going to be a fantastic fight for P2. This really works out to the benefit of Matt Cucker because obviously not only did he not want to lose that exchange with Adams, but getting checked up opened the door wide open for Christian Peterson, and now Cucker gets another opportunity to try it again for the race lead.
Yeah, this race has really been Jeremy Adams' race to lose, I think, at this point. I think he's had so many opportunities to really get it done, but Cucker has always kind of had the advantage of the outside lane, has always been able to do something with it, and really, quite frankly, it's I think he's just been at a disadvantage the entire race, but he did get the lead on that last restart, so I think we're going to have just over 25 laps to go this next time by. You can see Cucker's really trying to get those right sides really warmed up, and we have yet again another penalty for too many tires. Drivers are really trying to get away with it, and they are not getting away with it this time.
Another penalty going to be dished out in this one. This is our 8th caution flag of the night. 6 lead changes so far this evening. Matt Cucker would very much like to make that 7 on the evening. And we are also inside of 30 laps to go. So I do think, again, we're kind of stuck in the trance here of a couple of late race restarts that are going to be used to determine the end of this thing. But I think this is the most competitive we have seen a group inside of the top 3 or so all night long. Can't count out Paul Henley. He's called a great race, started 23rd, he's up to 5th. All of a sudden, he is the biggest mover in this race over Dalton J. Martin, although Martin, I'm sure, may be able to pick up some spots on tires here late. But Christian Peterson hasn't had that little bit extra to challenge for the race lead all evening long. I think he's in the best spot he's been all night right now, running 3rd.
He is, and I'm gonna slightly disagree with you on that. He's been there. He's just been caught up in a lot of incidents that hasn't really been at the fault of the 23 machine. He's just trying to get back up there, and now he's there when it matters, sitting in that 3rd place position, just gonna try to get back up there. He was almost up to the 69 of Matt Cucker, and I think he has something for this lead as the pace car drops in.
2x2 throughout, going to be scored with 12 cars on the lead lap. How many more opportunities is Matt Cucker going to get to try to take the race win here tonight? The Tour Modifieds for the Myrtle Beach Speedway. Back green we go. He beats him to the line. So the challenge going to go down to turns 1 and 2. Adams tight on the inside. He's got to check up, tight again, and he's going to turn him. Big contact for the race lead.
Oh man, and huge contact. I think that was Peterson that hit him, and Jeremy Adams is immediately done for the night. I think he just kind of took himself out of the sim immediately, but someone came in there and absolutely just ran. I think that was Tanner Cook, just slammed into him. And you got to remember, those are teammates. Tanner Cook, I think in a real race car would have some serious problems. It is really impressive that the car never came back down on 4 wheels for the longest time. I think to find just at least a little bit of humor in what really was an intense moment right there.
We've seen many battles this season, Chris, where those guys on the front row were able to fight each other hard, and it didn't go that little bit extra. And this time, you could tell that Adams really wanted it. Probably should have stayed out of the gas. He got tight once into the corner. Cocker cut him a break, and he just wanted it too badly. Drove into the left rear of the 60 Honda machine. It spun out Matt Cocker. Jerry Adams also got turned, got plowed. His night is basically done, and they've been able to walk that fine line so well for so long, and tonight not the way that either of them wanted that to go down.
And I can tell you for a fact, as you can see, I'm kind of stumbling because I'm just in complete shock. That's not in any way, shape, or form what I expected to happen on that restart. The cars were all over the place on the back straightaway, and it looks like the one that kind of, I guess, that you could take a benefit from that would be the 23 of Christian Peterson. Now we'll have to wait till the restart, you know, just crossing the line with under 25 laps to go. Now we'll have to see how that 23 machine really holds up now that he's got all that damage, because he got into it and got down on the inside wall. So we'll have to see if Wade Tashida is going to have anything for him, because Tashida got off of that out of that pretty cleanly and was able to stay up there. So the whole landscape of this race just got shaken up, because for the longest time it was, you know, Adams, Cucker, and then we saw Peterson start, you know, creeping in there, and now they're just all gone.
I guess it's one way to get another change for the race lead, and it's kind of very similar to what we saw in the street stocks, where there was a lot of contact, and it was Cucker at the time who was inside row 2, 3rd position. They wrecked around him. He wasn't a part of all of that, and he went to the race lead, and kind of the same strategy that Christian Peterson has implemented. Had a fast car, got himself in position, was on the inside of row 2 and 3rd, and at bottom of the racetrack always lends you a little bit more of a fighting chance to be able to avoid an accident by sneaking it below it, and he goes to the race lead. Not going to be for a walk-off yet, though. He still has to get through when we restart. 21 laps to go, and still with 11 cars in the lead lap, we are far from over with Wade Tashida looking to really make a splash at his return, and he'd do so by winning the race.
Definitely looks to be in good position right here. Is get them all racked and stacked, ready to go one more time. Pace car off and away, and they'll have 3 and 4 to navigate before they get the green flags. Definitely seen a lot of things on these restarts. Peterson has a lot of rear end damage, and we'll get the green flag here. And when does it get displayed? Gator on the outside of the number 22 gets a good bump from behind from Dalton J. Martin for this one. He might have an advantage, but Christian Peterson, oh, they get in contact, so give it to Peterson here. Oh, Peterson just wrecked himself. Oh, what is going on?
Caution flag is out, and Christian Peterson is going to be the one to hang on. I don't know what he did, but that car turned right, nailed the fence. I thought he was going to be done, and then it's Wade Sheeta who gets the contact, goes down, hits the pit wall, comes back out, and it's pandemonium on a back straightaway.
And I think I fully agree with Coop here on this one. What is going on here? I have no, I'm gonna guess it has to do with the damage to that 23 machine that just caused that car to unload coming off the corner and just went straight up into the wall, and then cars overturned, and it was just a crazy turn of events there. But you know, you'll see Christian Peterson take it down pit road, park it for the night, basically say his night's done, and bump the 83 of Sean Cross up to the lead.
If you don't mind me jumping in here, it just looked like maybe he had a black screen, because the car just goes straight all of a sudden, like for no reason, and he's not a guy to just not turn the car. So I'm kind of baffled by that.
Well, it brings out a yellow. It tears up more equipment. It gives us another restart, and the benefit of, again, I said it's not done yet, and unfortunately that looks like it's really just going to take Peterson out of this race. The car's on the pit road trying to get fixed. Survived the wreck, but just pounding the outside wall as hard as he did means that that car probably is not going to have much left. And let's reset the picture for you. Sean Cross, who started in 20th position, had the slowest qualifying time in qualifying earlier tonight, is leading this race. Dalton J. Martin, who wrecked in qualifying, is second. Both of them have passed 19 cars from where they started.
Yeah, it's just an amazing night for all these drivers who, you know, we thought, you know, who would start in the back and have some trouble getting up to the front. Well, now they've put their cars at the right position at the right time with laps winding down here. You know, you got Sean Cross, Dalton J. Martin, Matt Cucker, who was just involved in a caution 2 cautions ago, spinning out and getting quite a few damage. He's going to be back in 4th, and then Robbie Bunden, you know, going to be starting or going to be in the 4th position. So 4 out of the 5 drivers are going to be who started this race from 20th on back, and they've just proved to them that it doesn't matter where you start, it just matters where you finish, Evan.
That is ever so true for the drivers who had started up front, have been so good for so long in this race. The average starting position for a driver right now running inside of the top 10 is probably in the teens, and that's because for the driver, first Cross, second Martin, 4th is Bunden, 7th is DeMerchant, and 9th is Henley. Those are all drivers who started this race outside of the top 20. And by the way, we're not done yet. 110 laps down. It's going to be a 15 lap to go restart for Myrtle Beach Speedway. Let's see if we get some more excitement still to come. Cross going to be the control car on the inside of the racetrack. We go green, but top side for Martin with a big run, and he'll go to the race lead.
Yeah, he's going to definitely have... I think this will be a really big start if he's able to really cap this one off. Not that many laps to go, and we're going to see which drivers are going to come through the field. A lot of disqualifications under that last caution, with tires being a problem. But look at Sean Cross, still able to stay in front of the 69 of Matt Cucker. Look at the 18 of Todd Guerin getting back into the thing. And here comes the battle for second. Looks like the 69 is going back to the bottom of the track.
Trying to get on the inside. The 69 of Cucker did a good job of controlling himself. Checked up. Didn't run over Sean Cross when Cross had a slow exit at 2 on the opening lap off for the restart. And now Cucker's gotten through to second, but is it too little too late because that car's got damage again? Cucker stayed out when the first group of drivers came down to take tires. Then he himself decided to come back down, put him back in the pack. Ironically enough, it put him behind much of the excitement, and he is catching Dalton J. Martin last time, 0.2 of a second quicker with 11 laps to go this time.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see this battle if Matt Cucker is able to catch back up with him. And like you mentioned, with the speed he's going right now, he'll be up there before this thing is all said and done. Meanwhile, behind them, Todd Guerin just trying to hold on and try to maybe get back up there if these guys start battling a little bit. Behind them, Sean Cross and Robbie Bundon together. Maybe Bundon going to have something for Cross later, but everybody's going to have all eyes on Dalton J. Martin and Matt Cucker. As Cucker, huge run going down into turns 1 and 2. Just look at the carlings he made up going through that corner. So Matt Cucker is on a mission to take that lead back.
He's closing in, and I think he's going to have enough time and a fast enough race car to where he doesn't have to make a Hail Mary move and really do something that he would regret on the 91. I think he's got a fair amount of time, not excess time, but a fair amount of time to try to set something up again. Matt Cucker has really liked the outside on restarts. I'm not sure, Coop, we've seen him make a pass for the race lead with more than 5 laps of green flag underway, because the outside has just been so good that that's been the tool that he's utilized. So he's going to have to figure something out on Martin. Does he want to go to the inside? It'll probably be easier to get on the 91's bottom, or does he take the little bit of a more difficult route, try to get topside, the lane that he's preferred all night?
Tucker's due in a different lane right here, and oh my gosh, the 91 went way up the track. He's not going to be able to have as much momentum, but Matt Cucker gets on those rumbles. He's not going to have the momentum as if he was higher, and the 91's giving him plenty of room, but almost too much right now. He's got the momentum, but he also got a little tight in that corner right there, so Matt Cucker still at the left rear of the 91. I think the 91 can get a little bit dicier, or not dicier, but just a little bit more aggressive here, but they make contact just a little bit. But the 69 of Cucker's at the very bottom of the track, and looks like they're still going side by side, but I'd say that Cucker is going to have the momentum, just a little bit of contact right there, and the 91 is going to touch the outside wall. So good battle here for the first place position, but Cucker is going to clear him. Oh no!
Oh, he's gonna get sideways. What a save! But Martin is right back in this thing. I think, though, the 91 machine a tad slower than Cucker really needed to stay topside if he wanted to hold him off. Car length is only the difference between the race leaders at the moment, but with clear track in front, as long as Matt Cucker doesn't do that again, should be good.
And it's going to sound kind of weird, guys, but I think that bobble for Matt Cucker kind of helped him, because the 91 of Dalton J. Martin didn't know where to go and ultimately had to check up and make that gap just a little bit bigger. So Matt Cucker going to lead and slowly pull away off into the sunset from Dalton J. Martin. Dalton J. Martin going to need a miracle if he plans to get back into fighting position with Matt Cucker.
Obstacle 6 in the air this time around. 2 laps to go for the Myrtle Beach Speedway. Dalton Martin has done such a fantastic run, start to finish, though. Again, wrecked and qualified, got up front, found himself in a good position, but sometimes, even if all that falls your way, the faster race car is still going to be the person who is just a little bit too much of a challenge. And I think for Matt Cucker, opened up the night with a win in the street stock, said he wanted to talk to us again, and I think he's going to get that wish. Final time down the back. He will clear lap traffic. Martin's going to come up a couple of car lengths short, and it is Matt Cucker, checkered flag, your Tour Modified winner.
Yeah, definitely one of the fastest cars all night was Matt Cucker, and the 3 drivers behind him will finish on the lead lap, but that'll be it for the drivers on the track here. Only 3 drivers other than Matt Cucker finished on the lead lap. But I think someone said it earlier in the comments, the fact that, you know, it might be a survival of the fittest, and or just whoever can get to the end of this race, and Matt Cucker did that and was fast. So I think a shame for Dalton Martin that he wasn't able to get back up there to fight, but definitely Matt Cucker had this one under control after all the chaos ensued.
Matt Cucker's doing burnouts in the grass. Not a lot of smoke, but the celebration is the same. Matt Cucker sweeps the night, and he takes home the win in the Tour Modifieds that'll help out his cause for the Tour Modified Championship standings. Running in this event, came into tonight 11th in the overall season standings after missing a start on the year. So we'll take this opportunity to step aside for a brief moment. When can we come back? We'll try to get a word with some of your top finishers. You're watching LSRTV's continuing coverage of the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series presented by the Championship Esports Association. Matt Cucker is your Tour Modified winner, and we'll be trackside with him when we come back. Welcome back live to the Myrtle Beach Speedway for LSRTV's continuing coverage of the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series presented by the Championship Esports Association. Happy that you're with us on your home for sim racing and iRacing live for week 12 of this 2018 campaign. Saw a little bit of a different format tonight with straight stocks earlier on. And the Tour Modifieds joining us this evening for a 125 lap main event. Matt Cucker wins both, and we will talk with him trackside in just a moment. But as always, let's first take a look top to bottom at your LSRTV full race results. Also want to remind you that coverage of tonight's race is brought to you by Joel Real Timing, the official timing software of LSRTV. Whether you spend your time on the sim, behind the wheel, from the pit box, or the spotter stand, ART is your go-to software for iRacing timing and scoring analytics. You can get yourself the basic download today or the full pro version by going to joel-real-timing.com. Matt Cucker started in 4th position, takes home the win. Incredible runs, though. Likes of Dalton J. Martin, 21st to 2nd. Robbie Bundon, 24th to 3rd. Getting valiant results tonight. Todd Guerin comes home at 4th with Sean Cross ending up in P5. P6 tonight for Seth the Merchant. You got John Bignaka in 7th. Christian Peterson, great run, but not in the stars for him. Wrecks out late in P8. Paul Henley ends up in 9th position. And our pole sitter, Jeffrey Martin, rounds out our top 10.
Wade Cheeto would finish 21 laps earlier to finish 11th. David Metier, he'll finish in 12th. Tanner Cook went for a two-wheel ride. He'll finish in 13th. Jeremy Adams, 14th. Will Dravicki, 15th. David Cassidy finishes in the 16th position with Jeremy Watkins, 17th. 18th goes to Jeff Rogers with Wade Rookard finishing 19th. Randy Yoakum finishes 20th with Jacob Porter, 21st. John Clements, 22nd. Garrett Chakota, 23rd. And Ashton Tucker finishes 24th.
Look top to bottom at your LSRTV full race results. Let's go trackside with the driver of the number 69 machine, Matt Cucker, going to take home both checkered flags on the evening, and he gets the one that I think everybody was shooting for, the points race in the Tour Modifieds. We're down trackside with the Vinci Racing driver now. Matt, congratulations on the win. Kind of a little bit of a different way to get to the same result as you did in that first race. You started closer to the front in this one, but there was a lot of back and forth for the race lead. We saw the late contact between you and Jerry, which is something we don't often see for as much as we see you guys fighting for race wins. And at the end of it all, doesn't matter if the car's torn up or not, you guys walk away with the points for the win.
Yeah, I mean, all night long it was all about who would start second on the restart, and because we always have to go on green in the modified series, and it's a real killer on these restarts because the outside line has a more of an advantage because they can keep their momentum up and they pull you off turn 2. But that was a tough one. It was I didn't think the car was going to be able to come back after that late race contact with Jeremy, but I was glad that it did. And I had 34 seconds damage. I think I got 17 seconds of it completed. And I was like, all right, that's as much as I'm getting, and we're going to go for it. And fortunate enough that next yellow came out, and everyone, I don't know what happened. I haven't watched the replay yet, but I think CEA, they got into it and bad.
We also noted, with the pitch strategy in this, is something that you guys are used to doing on Tuesdays. It's not a concept that we're unfamiliar with either, but what was the idea and the mindset coming into tonight as far as tires? Because for the longest time, it looked like everybody up front just wanted to stay out and kind of ride it out. We saw guys outside of the top 5, 8th or 9th or so get tires at about a third of the way through this race, but then when you guys came down, it looked like it was only a 2-tire call?
Yeah, that's all we were allowed tonight was 2 tires from Kyle. He said that was the rule. We were allowed 2 tires, which is a lot of people were taking more than that, which is black flagged. But I mean, the tire fall off all night long wasn't all that bad. I knew it was going to be later on in the race where they would fall off, where Jeremy was starting to slow it down, but he was still running fast laps. I mean, I ran my fast lap on lap 113, so it wasn't. I pit, I think, lap 70-some, so it really, they didn't fall off all that much. It was just the fact that they had a little bit more on the restarts, which was the part that I needed.
You guys missed a start earlier in the year with these Tour Modifieds, so you came in tonight 11th in the points. That does put you the highest amongst drivers who only started 3 out of the 4 races so far, but this is your second win. Jeffrey Martin's got a win in these cars, so is Christian Peterson, but this means that you're the first driver to get to multiple wins in the Tour Modified, so I'm sure that's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it does. I mean, whenever you get multiple wins against these guys, it feels pretty good. I mean, this is the top of the line drivers here, and be able to compete week in and week out with them, it's pretty amazing.
We'll let you get off. It's been a hard-fought night for you, and earlier this evening you mentioned hopefully we get an opportunity to chat once more, and we did. You guys get both wins on the evening, so you deserve to kick the feet up and relax a little bit before you hit the hay. But Matt, as always, the sponsors and the shout-outs, who makes it possible for you guys to be successful on Wednesday nights?
Team Vince here, definitely. I analyze GlobalCom as usual. I gotta thank you guys for broadcasting. It's a pleasure listening to you, watching the broadcast when I'm done here. And Kyle Barnes and Myrtle Beach for always having this weekly thing going on.
We'll tell you every single time, Matt, we appreciate the time. Post-race, congratulations on the wins tonight, and best of luck as the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series rolls forward. I'm sure we'll have plenty of opportunities to chat down the line.
All righty, thank you.
Race winner tonight earlier in the non-points race for the straight stocks, and in tonight's main event, Matt Cucker sweeps the night and wins tonight's Tour Modified main event. And guys, just like that, we'll start to get things back on track, if you will, where all of our points-paying championships will be back for week 13 of the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series, but that rolls around on the next Wednesday night of action. But always fun, as I noted at the start, to get these special events with us. We saw wing sprints, we've seen Outlaw Dirt Late Models, the National Cars, and this week the Tour Modifieds. Tuesday nights with the Championship Esports Association, if anybody's interested and wants to get involved in that. But I will admit, I can't wait to get back to our 5-6 races tonight next time out, because I think it was a point I brought up with Matt Coop earlier in the night. We are really starting to work through these weeks now, to the point where we kind of got to look at points every single week. It's about that time.
Yeah, we're halfway through the season in the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series, and this kind of is a little stake in the middle of it that says, hey, this is where we need to start really starting to look at those championship runs by drivers. I mean, there's some close battles out there, between the late models, between the Chargers. The trucks is pretty one-sided, but there's still some battles in there. But we've got, you name it, just about every series has a battle somewhere that needs to be decided.
As the season continues to carry on, obviously, we're going to get all these different series back with us here very shortly. Chris, the U-Cars and the Legends, the Straight Stocks, the Mini Stocks, the Chargers, the Super Trucks, the Late Models. There's so much action that'll be here on Wednesday nights, and as you mentioned, starting to get down to the end of the championships here, so no reason for folks not to tune in next time out.
Definitely not. And I thought tonight was a nice little kind of takeaway, kind of get everybody's minds off of, the hard-hitting, points races, and have a night, introduce a new series like the Tour Modifieds that run on Tuesdays, like you guys mentioned, and run the short 30-lap street stock race, which isn't really short because of, what we're normally used to, but short compared to the 125-lap feature we saw here tonight. And just to kind of update you guys who are here for the Tuesday night race, who are interested in the Tuesday night points series for the Tour Modifieds. It was kind of a shaken up points day with Christian Peterson still your points leader, but now Tanner Cook 12 points behind in second. One of your biggest movers tonight, your race winner Matt Cucker, going to be now 7th plus 4 on the night, now 48 points back. So that's just a little look at your point standings if you're interested in that Tour Modified series.
You can keep up with that series as well as everything else the folks over at Championship Esports have going on their website at championshipesports.com. That does it for us here this evening. It does not mean that we are done this week, and we are far from done with short track racing. Tomorrow night we've got a double dose of short track action starting at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time with the Rivalry Racing Snowball Derby, and simulcast at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, our continuing coverage of the Upstate Racing League. You can find both of those live tomorrow on LSRTV. Then on Friday night at 9 o'clock, as always, it is the Super Speedway Cup Series, and rounding out the week at 10 o'clock on Saturday, December the 9th, it is the United Sim Racing BNC Lawn and Landscape Truck Series. Until next time, though, for more information on our wide variety of broadcasts on a weekly basis, you can go to livesimracing.com and get a look at our extended schedule. And the best way to stay up to date with us is by following us on social media. On Twitter, that's at LSRTV, and on Facebook, it's at facebook.com/LSRTV. LSRTV official. Until next time, though, on behalf of the entire team at Live Sim Racing LLC, the folks behind the scenes, DJ Lyon, Laura Lawson, everybody who's up in the booth night in and night out, and the big team that's going to be making it happen tomorrow night especially. But for your team tonight, myself, Evan Pasoko, Austin Coop, Chris Murdoch, and our producer, Cisco Scaramuza, want to thank you for tuning in and congratulate Matt Conker's second win in the Tour Modifieds. He won the Street Stocks as well. A successful outing for him from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And this Myrtle Beach Simulation Series will resume in 1 week's time on Wednesday night, right back here for Week 13. That race and every race of the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series presented by the Championship Esports Association can be found right here at LSR TV, your home for sim racing. Until next time, though, good night.